Dan Lok é um empresário originalmente de Hong Kong, que se mudou para Vancouver sem saber uma palavra de inglês. Ele tem uma história incrível de superação depois de inúmeras adversidades que precisou passar em sua vida, como ele mesmo vai contar ao longo desse vídeo. Ele foi uma pessoa que me inspirou durante o início do meu processo de crescimento aqui no YouTube e que, por ordem do destino, recentemente me enviou um e-mail dizendo que estava acompanhando o meu trabalho e queria estreitar laços. Então, a gente gravou esse vídeo para o meu YouTube e também um podcast para a plataforma dele. Segue o vídeo. I'm really pleased to have this guy here in our YouTube channel because it's no precedent that a foreign person that I really have admired for so long is finally here to share a little bit about his story. So for those of you who don't know Dan Lok, he's a big entrepreneur that was born in Hong Kong. He now has a lot of business ventures in Vancouver and all over the world. So Dan, I'm really grateful to have you here, and I hope this conversation is really going to give value to our audience to learn loads of things that you have to teach them.
Breno, I'm excited to be here, and I know that play a small part to inspire you on your entrepreneurial journey. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to kind of share a little bit of my hard-learned lessons with your audience.
Why don't you first then tell me a little bit about your story that I already know back to back, but I really would like to listen from you to, give our audience some context about the great man that we're talking to right now.
I think like most young people, I would describe myself as a punk kid because I had no directions.
No way.
I was born in Hong Kong, right? Immigrated to Canada when I was 14 years old. And my mom and dad got divorced when I was 16 years old. And shortly after that, my dad went bankrupt in Hong Kong because his business partner basically took the money and disappeared. So that left my dad about $1 million in debt in US dollars. Then on, because I was the only child in my family, I had to learn to hustle, right? To be my own man, to mature, to grow up. And so at a very young age, I got into entrepreneurship, I got into business, not because I wanted to, because I wanted to take care of my mom, to make money, to be successful, so I could take care of the people I care about the most. When I first moved to Vancouver, Canada, it was in an area that's kind of like the hood. That's not a very safe area. It's known for crimes and all that stuff. I was sleeping on the floor with a sleeping bag for actually a number of years. So I came from a very humble beginning.
We have a lot of adversity in Brazil, mainly in favelas. People that are so poor, the only reality that they see is misery. And that makes a lot of people go the wrong way because the reference that they have is like those drug dealers that have like huge gold necklaces and the cars. And just because they do not have reference of which path to go, they know that that path is the one that's going to get them social status. Your father went bankrupt. Your mother didn't know a word of English.
Yes.
I bet that was hard to know which path to go. How did you make that choice? How did you know what was right to do? How did you have the moral sense of life and that did not make you go the other way?
One day when I went home, my mom was in the bedroom. I was sleeping in the living room and she sleeps in the bedroom. So I could hear her talking to somebody on the phone and I could hear her crying. So I was knocking on the door. I said, hey, Mom, is everything okay? And she said, well, it actually was your dad. He just called. He just went bankrupt. So he couldn't send us money anymore. Right. So my mom has never worked a day in her life. She's a housewife. So she had no idea how to actually make money to now imagine me as a kid, as a teenager, with her in a country where she doesn't speak the language. And the reason she was there because she wants me to go to a good school. So I had a lot of resentment towards my dad. I was like, how could you do this to mom? You got divorced and then you don't send us money, you don't support us. So I could go either way where I could be like, screw this.
And what made you know that if you'd gone that way, it wouldn't turn out well for you?
I do not want to disappoint my mom. And it's from that moment on, from that day, I always remember that day because I always, even now, I remember my mom's face clearly. So I said to myself, I would never want to see that face on my mom again. I said, Mom, don't worry. It's going to be fine.
The reference that you have in your family where your father and your mom, you somehow got in contact with some kind of knowledge that made you want to seek money. Did you have a moment in your life about someone who told you something, about a moment that you lived that showed you that you could be successful doing some shit that nobody knew about, or maybe you didn't have because you didn't have the reference to it?
I still remember that incident. I was walking by, it's after school, a used bookstore. They're used bookstore, and outside the bookstore, there are a bunch of boxes where they have very old books. And I saw a book on the floor by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. Now, my English is not good, but I understand the cover of it, right? I understand the cover of it. Oh, that's interesting. What does that mean, right? And that kind of got me started on a journey of self-growth and self-development. Like my English was so bad. I had a dictionary and I had the books, but I was going through like quite a few books per week. I was extremely driven. I was working 13, 14, 15 hours a day, 5 years straight, like the first 5 years of my career.
This is such a great story because you were someone that didn't know the language. No. You were in a foreign country that you were adverse to the culture.
Yes.
And you picked up a book that made you not only want to know business, but then also know the language.
And that's why I have very little patience when people say, oh, but Dan, you don't understand my situation. A lot of excuses because I knew I came from nothing. I learned a language. I learned how to communicate. I learned how business works, how everything works. Like no one gave anything to me except debt. My dad left me with a bunch of debt, which, by the way, is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me because that made me strong. That made me resourceful. So when people say, oh, I don't know this, it's like, oh, Dan, I don't have any context. I said, context is not something that you have. Context is something that you go get. Oh, but, Dan, I'm shy. Well, get over it. Learn how to communicate. How do you communicate your value and articulate what you do? So everything is learnable, and public speaking, I had actually stage phobia, believe it or not, back then. I stutter when I talked.
That's unimaginable.
And I overcome one thing after another, one thing after another, one thing after another. Very, very challenging, but absolutely worth it.
This is a huge thing that a lot of people say, I can do that. I don't have the context. I don't have the network. I don't know who can I talk to so that they can teach me or maybe pull me up. So what do you have to say about those people that have those maybe limiting belief that they do not have the network, as if everybody started with a huge valuable network that they could rely on?
First of all, successful people, they're generous, most of them. But at the same time, no one owes you anything. They feel like, oh, because you are successful, you're supposed to help me. And I like to help people. I've helped a lot of people. But I only help people help themselves. If you cannot bring value to any relationship, then why would someone want to spend time with you? It is their fault. So a lot of these things I don't like where, oh, it's motivation. It's not just motivation. Like, fuck motivation. You need to have a skill set. You need to be able to provide value. And because of the role models around them, like you said, right? The parents are broke. Their friends are broke. This is like the hardest thing for people to shake off of, including me back then. Growing up, they have so many wrong ideas and negative ideas about money, about success, about wealth, right? And until you take 100% responsibility. If you say it's the government, it's my country, it's my parents, I don't have enough resources, until you take 100% responsibility and say, you know what, I am exactly where I deserve. Maybe you don't like where you are, then you fix it. People are like, oh, I don't, you understand, my country and where I live and all this stuff. And I most of the time I say, just get out of there, move, do something, right? Like if you want it bad enough, you will make it happen.
As we were talking, I remember some really valuable videos that helped me in the process that you made. And in one of them, you said that if you want to achieve success, you must be used to luxury. Go to a hotel, a chic hotel or something, get used to the surroundings and the lights and, the chandeliers and all the stuff. When you're close to getting it, it's going to be no big deal. You're not going to make a fuss about it. For you today, this is what you think, because I really would like to share some of my findings after money started to come in.
Because I think most people are not comfortable with success. They don't have success because they're not comfortable with success. So most people, they think it's the fear of failure. Oh, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? From my experience, and I've trained so many students, so many people around the world, it's actually the fear of success. Most people are addicted to their struggles. The struggles that they have, they don't like it. They're like, oh, why am I struggling? Why am I not happy? But they're actually addicted to that negative feeling because it allows them to complain. You cannot be a victor if you play victim. Think about a family like you were talking about. Young person, their surroundings, it's always negative and it's always lack. Then how are you going to get any success? So what I teach is you go there and you get comfortable with success, right? You go to that 5-star hotel, even if you got no money, sit in the lobby. Go test drive that car. Doesn't cost you anything. a lot of people will be uncomfortable. How are you going to become successful when you're not even comfortable with success?
Man, this is so true in Brazil, because here it's like when you start getting money, it's like you're committing a crime and actually taking money away from people that need it.
Correct.
This is the mentality, the scarcity mentality that you just said. It's like there's not enough for everybody, and you're all trying to share the piece of a pie that doesn't grow. It's static or maybe diminishing over time.
And it's a lie. It's a lie, because money is not a zero-sum game. Money is not where you make $1 and someone has to lose $1. You think money is just a piece of paper? That's simply not true. Money is a storage of value. When you have a job, right, you earn X amount of dollars. At the end of the month, you get a little paycheck, right? That is a storage of value. Now, you might put it in the bank. You can use a credit card to spend that money. It is a storage of value because you don't actually spend the money where you earn it. You spend the money somewhere else. So where you earn it to where you spend it, they're two different things. It is a storage of value. So what it means is, it is not like, oh, you make $1 and someone loses $1. It has to do with how can you create value in the marketplace, solves a problem for other people to get paid. Yeah, so it's not, so that's why when you said getting comfortable and going into a certain environment, I call that wealth trigger, right? Like different things that you have in your environment, so you get comfortable with it. So then it's not that when you make money, you are greedy, you must be taking advantage of people, you must be taking from the poor. Like, come on, like this is not a movie. Okay, this is like such a lie.
You're employing people. You're
It's not
generating
true.
revenue. Yeah.
It's simply not true.
What do you think of a luxury after you've gained money? Because as I understand, you say that you have to get used to it when you don't have it.
Yes.
After you've accomplished it, how is the significance of luxury to you?
I think in life we go through what I call, 4 stages of life. The first stage is what I call survival. So in the beginning, when I was trying to make a living and support my mom, I was in survival mode. I was just trying to pay the bills to be able to afford rent. That's survival. And then stage 2, if you are hungry and you're willing to learn and grow, you get to a stage what I call security. Security, now you are okay, right? A lot of middle class, you're paying the bills. A lot of, I think, middle class in Brazil, right? Middle class, they're paying the bills, they've got kids, it's good. They're secure. And that's a majority of the people. Survival, security. And then a small percentage would evolve to what I call success. You don't just have everything you need, you have everything you want. You don't just drive a car, you drive the car that you want. The car that you want, right? Whatever car that you want. You don't just live in a house, you live in the house that you want, right? And I was in that stage for a period of time, for quite a long period of time in my life, until I discovered the next stage, which is what I call significance. So first you need to get comfortable with success. Once you're comfortable, once you have it, you kind of want to be not attached to that. You realize those things mean very little once you have it, but you got to go through it, right? I tell young guys all the time, hey, don't get that Ferrari. They still get the Ferrari. You got to get it out of the system. Once they get it, oh, actually, Dan, you're right. Actually, it's not a big deal. I know.
Yeah, you're gonna realize it was not the motivation that you're looking after.
But they still would say, but Dan, let me experience it first. Then I will get it out of my system. I said, no worry, like do that, right?
Because I think if we try to attach ourselves or happiness to material things, we're gonna live a very miserable life, because we're always looking for the next thing that we're gonna buy to have that shot of dopamine,
status, whatever it might be.
Earlier this year, I sold a part of my company, and for the first time, I saw a huge amount of money come into my bank account. And what I realized is I still had the same friends. The food tasted the same. Still have the ceiling in my house. It maybe got a little bit better, but after the spur of the moment thing, like the happiness, the joy of having the loads of money in the bank account, after 24 hours, it's just, okay, that was it. Was that what getting rich was about?
Then the next morning you get up and kind of do the same thing.
And what that taught me is that you have to get happiness from inside you. You have to be grateful for the things that you have today. And, really enjoy the little things in life, because we maybe mistake things that bring us happiness that are free, which for me, it's the most thing in life. It's like the smile that you get from someone you love. It's a walk in the park. It's maybe spending some time with my dog. It's the simple things that are totally free today.
Money is not supposed to give you happiness. That's not the purpose of money, right? Money is supposed to give you two things. It gives you comfort in life, so you have more choices. And then it allows you to multiply the good that you do beyond your physical presence. And you can help a certain cause, or you can write a check and you can employ 100 people. You help 10 people, 5 people. It can multiply the good that you do. So I see it that way. It's not supposed to give you happiness, but people will still go through it because I've seen it too much, right?
Yeah, that's part of the process that
it's
you're
not
level
part of the
1, 2,
process.
3, and 4. Yeah.
I can already hear, oh, Dan, easy for you to say, you know, let me go make my first million, first 2 million, whatever it might be, the amount is, right?
Yeah, people want to test for themselves.
That's fine. That's all good. It's all good. But once they realize that, okay, there's actually another level, the significance. And that's when you get both. You get both the success and the significance.
Because of the work you're doing today, you're impacting maybe tens of millions of people every month because of the content that you produce. Maybe you can't grasp the actual impact that you do in the world. I mean, it's not humanly possible to have those kind of figures in our mind to actually imagine how many people like me that because was listening one day at the gym, you talking, decided to start its own business. Started as a little YouTube channel that today employs over like 30 people just because you started to speaking about how you could develop your mentality and your habits and then learn about business and sales and develop your confidence to do it.
Like being able to do this, I don't take it lightly. And I know the responsibility because I am reaching a lot of people, right? I am influencing a lot of people. So I don't take that lightly.
How can you still be humble? How can you be significant to the world without, you know, being, oh, I'm awesome, I've done all that, you know, I've got so many people rich. How can you stay on track of what the mission of you're really trying to accomplish?
I think it did get into my head a little bit in the beginning because first when you, oh, wow, like, you know, the fame and all of that, like I went through a period of time, but very short period of time. And after I snap out of that, I'm like, no, that's not why I do it. And so once I snap out of that, now I just do what I believe is right. In the beginning, I would say, you know, I want to be the biggest business influencer on YouTube, right? I want to have more subscribers than anybody else. But now it's like, you know, now like I don't care about the numbers. I don't care. I do it because I want to do it, right? If I don't want to do it, then I don't do it. I have a wall of gratitude in my office where anytime I get a thank you letter, a thank you card, I would post it on there, right? I don't think I want my legacy to be, you know, when I'm gone, oh, you know, Dan is rich and famous. Who gives a shit? There are a lot of rich and famous people, way richer and way more famous than me. I want my story to be, Dan, you've impacted my life.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you have been doing. That's why I'm here and to interview you. And I just want one last question to extract from you before we end this beautiful YouTube video that we just recorded, which is a message, a final message that you would give to people that are young and want to start a business. They don't know where to start. They know what to do. Based on your experience, what did you say to them?
It is now easier than ever to start. I mean, back in the days, I mean, the internet, it was early. Now you can listen to a podcast, watch a video. You have access to so many great entrepreneurs and great minds in the world, like at your fingertip. So so it's easier to get started. So no excuse not to get started, right? And you can sell to the world, right? You can tap into the global market. On the other hand, knowing at the same time, it is harder than ever to succeed because the low barrier of entry. Anybody can start. Anybody can start a YouTube channel. Anybody can start a Facebook account. Anybody can start an Instagram. Anybody can start a business like that. So easy to get in, harder to succeed. So then to succeed, you have to be very, very good at what you do.
You have to be different. You have to have your own unique sense of personality, unique sense of value.
Correct. And how do you get good at what you do? That means learning from other people, seeking mentors, right? Seeking help from other people who have done it, been there and done that. I think young people, sometimes we need to know that we don't have all the answers. Because, okay, when I was in my 20s, I thought I knew everything. I didn't know shit. And then when I got to 30, I realized I really didn't know shit. Yeah, and now I'm humbled that people think, oh, you know, Dan, how do you get the ego out of the way? If I was to say to you right now, if you ask me, do I think I'm very successful? I would tell, I don't think I'm that successful. I don't consider myself, oh, I'm a master of business. right? I'm a student of business. I'm a student of leadership. I'm a student of marketing and sales. I'll always be a student. So that keeps me humble because the people that I hang out with, they are at a different level. They are running $1 billion company, right? There is a whole different level. So I'm like, I'm just a beginner.
Well, as I've learned plenty with this interview with you, Dan, so I want to thank you. And last words, please tell people that are watching you where they can find you.
I think the best, go to the website, danlok.com. It's just the hub that branches out to all the social media, any of the resources that we have, any of the training that we have, they could go and see that. But there's a lot of free content everywhere that I produce, right? Over 1,000 videos on YouTube, hundreds of podcasts, and they can access all that for free, right? And if they get value from that, leave me a comment. I love to see it, because I want to hear those stories. I love those stories.
Maybe Dan Lok is going to invest in your business. Who knows? Well,
if you have a business, not an idea, but an actual viable, scalable business, let me know. Dan Lok Ventures. You can submit a form.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna give the links down below to all the Dan social networks and social media stuff. So then, thank you one more time. You have been a huge inspiration. Thank you, and it's been an honor to have this podcast with you.
I thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
So bye, guys. Oh, kiss for everybody, and
thank
we'll
you.
See you soon.